The crystal wine glass caught the evening light, casting prisms across the empty place settings at my carefully arranged dinner table. 6:43 p.m. The food was getting cold, and the chairs, all 12 of them, remained vacant. I took another sip of wine, remembering Grandmother Catherine's words. Patience reveals truth, darling, even when the truth hurts. I, Oliver Sterling, had spent weeks planning this dinner. The invitation was simple, elegant, and clear. Dinner starts at 6. No gifts, just presents. I'd even underlined the word presents to make the point. Yet here I sat, alone in the private dining room of the Augustus, the city's most exclusive restaurant, watching minutes tick by on my grandfather's vintage Rolex. My phone buzzed with predictable excuses. Sister, 6:44 p.m. Traffic is insane. Sorry, Ollie. Be there in 20. Brother, 6:44 p.m. Closing a deal. Running late. Save me some wine. Mother, 6:45 p.m. Darling, we're almost there. Your father had a last-minute call. I knew better. Jessica was probably still at the boutique, buying some overpriced last-minute gift to maintain her image as the generous sister. Marcus was likely at his club, networking with people he thought could advance his position in the family business. And my parents? They were probably strategizing about how to handle my phase of wanting a simple family dinner. The Sterling family didn't do simple. We didn't do presents over presents. We did grand gestures, expensive gifts, and carefully orchestrated displays of wealth that had nothing to do with actual connection. I looked at the leather portfolio beside my plate, containing documents that would shock my family to their core. Grandmother Catherine's final gift to me, delivered by her attorneys this morning, was about to change everything. The door opened at 6:50 p.m. Jessica swept in, designer dress rustling, carrying a distinctly Hermes orange shopping bag. Happy birthday, favorite brother. She air-kissed my cheek, her perfume overwhelming the carefully selected wine's bouquet. You won't believe what I found for you. The invitation said no gifts. I reminded her, accepting her theatrical hug. Don't be silly. It's your birthday. She settled into a chair, immediately checking her phone. The others are close. Daddy's bringing the family gift. You'll love it. Marcus arrived next, at 7:05 p.m., still on his phone. Sorry, bro. Major deal in the works. Could mean millions for Sterling Corp. He clapped my shoulder, finally ending his call. You understand, right? Business first. The irony of his words almost made me laugh. My parents arrived last, at 7:15 p.m., Mother fussing with her pearls and father still thumbing his phone. Oliver, darling, happy birthday. Mother's embrace was careful, measured, like everything else in her life. We have wonderful news. Father finally looked up. Son, the board meeting today was exceptional. We're announcing you as Junior Vice President of Operations. I took another sip of wine, letting the moment stretch. Interesting. And who made that decision? Well, the board, of course, Father said, straightening his tie. Though I may have suggested it was time to give you more responsibility. How generous, I said softly, touching the portfolio. Shall we order? The next 30 minutes were exactly what I expected. Jessica talked about her growing social media influence, Marcus boasted about his deals, and our parents discussed Sterling Corp's latest acquisitions. No one asked about my year, my goals, or why I'd requested this specific dinner. The main course arrived, perfectly timed according to my instructions. As my family focused on their plates, I finally opened the portfolio. Before we continue, I said, my voice cutting through their chatter, I have an announcement of my own. Oh God, Jessica rolled her eyes. Is this about that ridiculous charity project again? Actually, I smiled, it's about Sterling Corp. And Grandmother Catherine's final wishes. That got their attention. Grandmother Catherine had been the family matriarch, the true power behind Sterling Corp's success. She passed away 3 months ago, leaving surprisingly modest bequests to everyone, except me. My inheritance had been scheduled for delivery on my 34th birthday. This morning, I received a package from Grandmother's attorneys. I removed the documents. It seemed she had very specific plans for the company's future. Father's fork clattered against his plate. What are you talking about? The will was read months ago. The public will, yes. I slid the first document across the table. This is the private addendum, executed 2 years ago. Grandmother Catherine transferred controlling interest in Sterling Corp to a private trust. My trust. The silence was deafening. Marcus grabbed the paper, his face paling as he read. Jessica's perfectly maintained composure cracked. Mother's hand flew to her pearls. That's impossible, Father whispered. I'm CEO. The board. The board serves at the pleasure of the majority shareholder, I said, passing him another document. As of midnight, that's me. You can't do this, Marcus sputtered. I'm the one who's been working deals, building relationships, building your own reputation using family resources. I corrected. Grandmother noticed. She noticed everything. I pulled out Grandmother Catherine's letter, her elegant script filling the cream-colored paper. My dearest Oliver, if you're reading this, you finally turned 34. And your family is probably reacting exactly as I predicted. They're questioning everything, defending their positions, and wondering how they missed this. They missed it because they were too busy looking at themselves to see what I saw in you: integrity, compassion, and the wisdom to know that true success isn't measured in dollars or deals. Sterling Corp was built on family values, not family drama. Your father forgot that. Your siblings never learned it. But you, my darling grandson, you understood. The trust gives you complete control, but it also gives you a choice. You can run the company your way, or you can give them a chance to prove they can change. Choose wisely. All my love, Grandmother Catherine. I looked at my family's shocked faces. Grandmother left instructions for everyone. First, Father, you're welcome to remain as CEO, but with new conditions. No more nepotism. No more using corporate resources for personal gain. The board gets restructured with independent directors. Father's face reddened. You can't. I can, and I will. I turned to Marcus. Brother, your deal-making days are over unless you earn them back. Entry-level position. Regular hours. Actual work. Prove your worth without the family name. Marcus stood up, furious. This is ridiculous. I'll fight it. The documents are ironclad, I said calmly. Grandmother's lawyers made sure of that. Jessica, I continued as my sister's perfectly mascaraed eyes filled with tears. Your influencer account will no longer be funded by corporate money. Want to showcase luxury? Earn it first. Mother, I softened my tone. Grandmother left you the family foundation to manage. Real charity work, not social events disguised as fundraisers. Why you? Jessica whispered. Why not any of us? I pulled out my phone, showing them photos they'd never seen. Me working late at community centers, attending night classes in business ethics, volunteering at local charities. All under a different name, all without fanfare or social media posts. Because I proved myself without trying to prove anything, I said. Grandmother was watching all of us, testing our character when we didn't know we were being tested. The silence that followed was heavy with realization. Years of entitlement, of taking grandmother's generosity for granted, of assuming the Sterling name was enough. All of it crystallized in this moment. There are contracts in here for everyone, I said, spreading out the documents. New positions, new responsibilities, new standards, your choice whether to sign. And if we don't, Marcus challenged, then you'll receive your trust funds as stipulated in the public will, enough to live comfortably, but not extravagantly. No corporate access, no family properties, no Sterling name in business. Father leaned forward. You planned this dinner, this announcement, on your birthday. Actually, I smiled. Grandmother planned it. She knew you'd all show up late, focused on gifts and appearances. She knew you'd demonstrate exactly why this change is necessary. I stood, gathering the portfolio. You have until midnight to decide. I'll be in Grandmother's old office, my office now. Those who want to be part of Sterling Corp's future know where to find me. As I reached the door, Mother called out, Oliver, wait. We're your family. I turned back. Yes, you are. That's why Grandmother gave us all a chance to become better versions of ourselves. The question is, are you willing to try? I left them there, surrounded by cooling food and shattered assumptions. The restaurant staff had been instructed to serve dessert, a special recipe of Grandmother Catherine's. Inside each dessert was a simple message. Legacy is earned, not inherited. Walking through the quiet evening streets towards Sterling Tower, I thought about Grandmother's final lesson. She hadn't just given me control of a corporation. She'd given me the tools to rebuild our family. My phone buzzed, text messages flooding in. Jessica, I'll sign, but I hate you a little right now. Marcus, entry level? Seriously. Fine. Where do I start? Mother, the foundation needs work. I'll do it right this time. Father, your grandmother would be proud. Let's talk. I smiled, reaching the tower's private elevator. Grandmother Catherine's office, my office now, still held her presence. The view of the city she'd helped build, the subtle scent of her favorite tea, the wisdom embedded in every decision she'd made. On the desk, right where she said it would be, sat one final envelope, for after they choose. I opened it, her familiar handwriting bringing comfort. Dearest Oliver, they came to you, didn't they? Our family may be proud, but they're not stupid. Guide them well, but remember, true change takes time, patience, and sometimes a little well-timed shock to the system. The real work begins tomorrow. Show them what Sterling really means. All my love. Grandmother Catherine. P.S. Check the safe behind my portrait. I left something for your next family dinner. Use it wisely. I sat in her chair, my chair now, and looked out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, my family was realizing that presence really was the greatest present they could have given. It just took a complete upheaval of their world to make them understand. The real birthday celebration was just beginning. The next morning, Sterling Tower hummed with nervous energy. Word had spread quickly. The prodigal grandson was now in charge, and changes were coming. I arrived early, before 7 a.m., and found my family already waiting in the executive conference room. They looked different, subdued. Jessica had traded her usual designer outfit for a conservative business suit. Marcus wore a simple white shirt, no flashy cufflinks in sight. Our parents sat together, holding hands under the table, something I hadn't seen in years. The contracts they'd signed sat in front of each of them, signatures still fresh. "Well," I said, setting down my briefcase, "this is new. The Sterlings, early for a meeting?" "Couldn't sleep," Marcus admitted. "Been reading the entry-level training manual all night." I nodded, opening Grandmother Catherine's safe before the meeting. Inside, as promised, was another envelope marked "the first morning." Along with it was a stack of employee files, people Grandmother had been watching over the years. "Before we begin," I said, "let's talk about what Grandmother Catherine really built here." I pressed a button, and the conference room screen came to life. Images appeared, not of luxury cars or corporate jets, but of employees' children graduating college on Sterling scholarships. Community centers built quietly in struggling neighborhoods. Small businesses saved during economic downturns by anonymous Sterling investments. This, I gestured to the screen, is our real legacy, not the Forbes listings or the society pages. Mother touched her pearls, a nervous habit. "Catherine never showed us this side of things, because you never asked." I opened the envelope, reading Grandmother's words. "Dear Oliver, they're all there early, aren't they? Fear is a powerful motivator, but it's not what we're going to build on. Show them the files, the real heart of Sterling Corp. Then show them their new paths. Love, Grandmother Catherine." I distributed the files. "These are your new teams. People who've worked here for years, doing extraordinary things without recognition. Learn from them." Jessica opened her file first. "Community Outreach Division? But I'm supposed to be in marketing." "You are," I confirmed. "Marketing real initiatives, real people, real change. No more influencer posts about private jets and champagne parties." She started to protest, then stopped, actually reading the file. "These people, they've been doing amazing work." "Marcus," I turned to my brother, "you'll start in project development. Small business loans, community investment. Remember how you used to talk about helping startups before you got obsessed with big deals?" He nodded slowly. "Yeah, back when I actually enjoyed the work." "Mother, the foundation needs a complete overhaul. These files show the projects Grandmother really cared about. And Father," I paused, meeting his eyes, "you'll work alongside me, learning what CEO really means in Grandmother's vision." "And what about the board meeting this afternoon?" Father asked quietly. "Ah, yes," I smiled. "The board. Grandmother left instructions for that too." The board meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. Before that, I had each family member shadow their new teams. Jessica spent the morning with community organizers, looking slightly lost without her phone, now limited to business use only. Marcus sat in on small business proposal reviews, surprisingly engaged in the actual details. At 1:55 p.m., we reconvened. My family looked shell-shocked, but different, more present. "Learn anything?" I asked. "These people," Jessica said softly, "they do so much with so little, and they're happy, actually happy." Marcus nodded. "I met a guy who's been here 20 years, working on small business development. He knows more about real deal-making than I ever learned at the club." The boardroom doors opened at exactly 2 p.m. The existing board members filed in, old money, old connections, old thinking. They faltered when they saw the new seating arrangement. I stood at Grandmother Catherine's old place. Welcome, everyone. There have been some changes. The next hour was a systematic dismantling of the old guard. New board members were introduced, leaders in sustainable business, community development, ethical investment. The old guard's faces grew progressively redder as their comfortable positions were politely but firmly eliminated. "This is outrageous," one longtime board member sputtered. "The sterling name is mine to protect now," I finished. "Thank you for your service. Your retirement packages are generous." As the old board filed out, I opened another envelope from Grandmother. After the board. "Dearest Oliver, well done. The old guard needed to go. Too many golf club deals, too little real vision. Now the real test begins. Your family is watching, learning. Show them what leadership looks like. Love, Grandmother Catherine." That evening, I called another family dinner, this time in Grandmother's private dining room at the tower. Everyone arrived early. "One day down," I said as we sat. "Thoughts?" Jessica spoke first. "I met a single mom in our community program. She's built an entire support network for working mothers, using our resources. I want to help expand it." The small business team, Marcus added, "they've developed this incredible screening system for sustainable startups. It's actually exciting." Mother set down her fork. "The foundation has been supporting a children's literacy program for years. I never even knew about it. Catherine did so much we never saw." Father was quiet, thoughtful. "I thought I knew how to run this company. Today showed me I only knew how to manage it." I smiled, opening the final envelope of the day, the first victory. "My Oliver, they're beginning to see it, aren't they? The real joy isn't in taking, it's in building, in creating change. Tomorrow will be harder. Old habits die slowly. But today, celebrate this small victory. They showed up. They learned. They're trying. Love, Grandmother Catherine." P.S. Check the bottom drawer of my desk. I left something for each of them. I retrieved the packages, small, elegantly wrapped boxes. Inside each was a piece of Grandmother's personal jewelry, with notes. For Jessica, her simple pearl earrings. Beauty lies in purpose, not price. For Marcus, her plain gold watch. Time is worth more than money. For Mother, her charity board service pin. Leadership serves. For Father, her old office key. Power is a responsibility, not a right. She planned everything, Father said, holding the key. How long did she watch us? Test us? All our lives, I replied. She saw what we could be, if we just looked beyond ourselves. Jessica turned her earrings over. "These aren't worth much, are they?" "They're priceless," Mother corrected. Catherine wore them to every important board meeting, every charity event, every real accomplishment. Tomorrow won't be easier. I warned them. The media will get wind of the changes. Our social circle will react. Old business partners will push back. Let them, Marcus said, surprising everyone. I make more meaningful connections today than in a year of cocktail parties. Mother straightened her shoulders. Catherine believed in us, in this change. We can't let her down again. Together then? Father asked, looking around the table. Together, we agreed. As they left that evening, each to their own thoughts and challenges, I found one more note tucked into my desk drawer. Oliver, the first day is ending. They've seen a glimpse of what Sterling Corp really means. Now comes the hard part, maintaining this change, building on it, growing through the resistance that's coming. But you're not alone. I left you an entire company of good people doing good work. Let them help you guide our family home. All my love. Grandmother Catherine. P.S. Tomorrow's envelopes are in this safe. Yes. I planned for every day until you're ready to fly solo. Did you expect anything less? I laughed, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Grandmother Catherine was watching, probably amused at how well her plan was working. The Sterling legacy was changing, one day at a time. 3 months into the Sterling Revolution, as the business press had dubbed it, the changes were beginning to show, not just in our corporate structure, but in my family themselves. I sat in Grandmother Catherine's office, my office, reviewing the latest reports when Jessica knocked on the door. She had traded her designer wardrobe for practical business attire, and her social media accounts now showcased community success stories instead of luxury lifestyles. Oliver, got a minute? There's something you need to see. She spread out a proposal on my desk, a comprehensive plan for expanding our working mothers support network nationwide. The numbers were solid, the impact projections impressive. You did this? I asked, noting the detailed research. With the community team, she admitted. We've been working late. It's actually exciting, building something real. I smiled, reaching for today's envelope from Grandmother Catherine. When they start to shine. My dearest Oliver, they're finding their way, aren't they? Real purpose has a way of changing people. Watch how they grow when they're building instead of taking. But be careful. Success brings its own challenges. The old crowd won't stay quiet forever. Love, Grandmother Catherine. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. Marcus was calling from the small business development floor. Ollie, we've got trouble. The Carlton Group is trying to poach our sustainable startup portfolio. They're offering ridiculous buyouts. The Carlton Group, our biggest competitors and the embodiment of old money business tactics. They've been suspiciously quiet during our transformation. Get up here, I told him. Bring your team's analysis. Within minutes, Marcus arrived with his team leader, Sarah Chin, a 20-year Sterling veteran who had been quietly building our sustainable business program under the old guard's radar. They're targeting our most promising ventures, Sarah explained, spreading out data sheets, offering quick cash and flashy perks. Marcus looked worried. These startups, they're not just businesses. They're changing communities. We can't let Carlton turn them into corporate profit machines. I studied my brother, the same man who, 3 months ago, only cared about deal sizes and club memberships. Now he was defending community impact over profits. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Sterling, your parents are here. They say it's urgent. Mother and father hurried in, looking concerned. The foundation board, Mother said without preamble. They're calling an emergency meeting. The old donors are threatening to pull out over our new direction. Carlton's behind that too, Father added. They're offering to take over our donor list, promising a return to traditional values. I reached for another envelope. Grandmother had labeled this one when they attack. Dear Oliver, the vultures are circling, aren't they? Old money hates change. They'll try to break us with the very weapons we've abandoned. Greed, social pressure, fear of change. But we have something they don't understand. Purpose. Check the hidden safe. Behind the third panel. Combination is your sister's birthday. You'll find what you need. Love, Grandmother Catherine. The hidden safe contained 4 folders and a USB drive. Each folder was labeled with a Carlton Group executive's name, containing detailed investigations into their business practices. Grandmother knew they'd try this, I said, plugging in the USB. She spent years documenting their methods. The screen filled with evidence: environmental violations, community displacement, worker exploitation, all hidden behind charitable galas and press releases. Call an all-hands meeting, I told Jessica. Every employee, every department. 1 hour. In the Sterling Tower's main auditorium, I faced our entire workforce, not just executives and managers, but every person who made our company work. Carlton Group wants to destroy what we're building, I began. They think we'll crumble under pressure, return to the old ways. They're wrong. I nodded to Jessica, who started her presentation. Photos and videos played, children learning to read in our programs, small businesses thriving, communities growing stronger. This is the real Sterling legacy, she said, her voice strong. Not stock prices or social status. Marcus stepped up next, with Sarah Chin beside him. Our sustainable startups aren't just investments, he explained. They're the future. Carlton wants to buy that future and bury it. We say no. Mother took the stage, presenting the foundation's real impact, not in donor lists or gala photos, but in lives changed and communities supported. Father stood last. I ran this company for years, thinking power meant control. I was wrong. Power means responsibility, purpose. We're not going back. The auditorium erupted in applause. These weren't just employees. They were partners in something bigger. My phone buzzed. Carlton's CEO wanted a meeting. Immediately. In the executive conference room, I faced Richard Carlton himself, silver-haired, perfectly tailored, radiating old money confidence. Oliver, he smiled coldly, let's be reasonable. This social experiment of yours is admirable, but unsustainable. We're prepared to offer a very generous buyout. I opened the final envelope of the day. When they try to buy you. Dearest Oliver, Richard Carlton is sitting across from you, isn't he? Offering to save our company from its new direction. He never understood that money isn't power. Purpose is. Show him. Love, Grandmother Catherine. P.S. The real numbers are in the blue folder. I pulled out the folder, showing Carlton our latest financial reports, sustainable profits, growing market share, employee retention at record highs. This isn't an experiment, Richard. It's the future. And it's working. The old guard won't stand for this, he warned. You're changing too much, too fast. Actually, I smiled. We're just getting started. I pressed a button, and the screens lit up with Grandmother's evidence, decades of the Carlton Group's hidden practices. You have a choice, I said quietly. Adapt to the new way of business, or watch us expose the old way. Grandmother Catherine kept very good records. He left without another word, but we knew this wasn't over. The old guard never surrenders easily. That evening, my family gathered in Grandmother's private dining room again. 3 months had changed us all. Closer, stronger, more purposeful. Carlton won't stop, Father warned. He'll try something else. Let him, Jessica said. We have something he doesn't understand. Purpose, Marcus added. Real impact. Mother smiled. Catherine would be proud of us. Finally, I opened one last envelope. When they find their strength. My Oliver, tonight your family sits united not by fear or greed, but by shared purpose. This is what I always saw in you, the ability to lead them here. Carlton and his kind are dinosaurs, fighting against extinction. Let them rage. We're building the future. Tomorrow brings new challenges. But tonight, celebrate how far you've come. Look at your family. Really look at them. See how they've grown. Jessica found her voice in helping others. Marcus discovered joy in building, not taking. Your mother learned that status comes from service. Your father understood that leading means lifting others. And you, my darling grandson, you've become what I always knew you could be. A true sterling. All my love. Grandmother Catherine. P.S. The next phase begins tomorrow. The envelopes in the main safe will guide you. Remember, we're not just changing a company, we're changing how business itself works. I looked at my family, remembering how we sat here 3 months ago, suspicious, resistant, afraid. Now we sat as partners, builders, changemakers. To Grandmother Catherine, I raised my glass. Who saw who we could become? To the future, they responded. Outside, the city lights sparkled. Somewhere, Carlton and his kind were plotting their next move. But we were ready. We had purpose, truth, and Grandmother Catherine's carefully laid plans. The Sterling legacy was no longer about wealth or power. It was about change. Real, lasting, meaningful change. And we were just getting started. 1 year after the birthday dinner that changed everything, I stood in Grandmother Catherine's office, now truly mine, preparing for another family gathering. But this time was different. This time, we had something to celebrate. The Wall Street Journal's headline said it all. Sterling Revolution reshapes corporate America, a new era of purposeful profit. The Carlton Group had finally conceded defeat last week, announcing a strategic restructuring to adopt more sustainable and community-focused practices. They weren't the only ones. Our success had sparked a movement in the business world. My phone buzzed with messages from my family. Jessica, community center opening in 10 minutes. You coming? Marcus, just closed the Sustainable Energy Fund. $2 billion committed to green startups. Mother, foundation partnership meeting went perfectly. Dad's getting emotional. I smiled, reaching for what I knew would be Grandmother Catherine's final envelope, marked simply, the end of the beginning. My dearest Oliver, if you're reading this, a year has passed since you took control. The changes we planned have taken root, and our family has transformed in ways even I couldn't fully predict. But this isn't really the end, is it? It's just the beginning of what Sterling can truly become. I have no more envelopes to guide you, no more hidden safes or secret files. From here, the path is yours to create. Lead them well. All my love, Grandmother Catherine. P.S. Your birthday dinner awaits. This time, I think they'll be on time. The new community center was packed with employees, beneficiaries, and local residents. Jessica stood at the podium, confidently presenting the center's programs without a designer label in sight. Her social media influence had transformed into real community leadership. This center, she announced, represents everything Sterling now stands for. Not charity, but opportunity. Not handouts, but partnerships. Marcus sat with his team of sustainable business developers, including 3 startups we'd saved from Carlton's attempted takeover. They were discussing expansion plans, his eyes bright with genuine enthusiasm. Mother worked the room with natural grace, but not for social status. She connected donors with project leaders, building relationships that would fuel real change. Father watched her with pride, his transformation from corporate autocrat to mindful leader evident in his relaxed demeanor. At exactly 6 o'clock p.m., not 6:45, not 7:15, my family gathered in the center's main hall for my 35th birthday dinner. One year, Father said, raising his glass, "You've done more in 1 year than I did in 20. "We did it," I corrected. "All of us." Jessica laughed. "Remember how angry I was about giving up my influencer status? Now my followers are actually engaging with real issues, not just luxury posts." "Remember my first day in an entry-level job?" Marcus added. "I was terrified. Now I can't imagine doing anything else." Mother touched her simple pearl necklace, grandmother's old one. Catherine knew exactly what we needed, didn't she? Not just success, but purpose. The community center hummed with activity around us, classes in session, meetings in progress, real work happening even during our celebration. I opened my birthday cards, not expensive gifts, but meaningful messages. Jessica's included photos of lives changed through our programs. Marcus added impact reports from his sustainable startups. Mother and Father's card held a simple message: "Thank you for helping us see what sterling really means." As we sat together, sharing a meal and genuine conversation, I found one last note, tucked into my jacket pocket, in handwriting I knew so well. "My Oliver, your 35th birthday. 1 year since everything changed. Look around you. Really look. See what our family has become." Jessica found her voice in authenticity. Marcus discovered his passion in purpose. Your parents learned that legacy isn't about control. And you, my darling grandson, you've become more than a CEO. You've become a catalyst for change. The Sterling name now stands for something real, something lasting. I won't leave any more notes after this. You don't need them. Lead with your heart, trust your instincts, and remember, true wealth isn't in what we have, but in what we build together. All my love, for all time. Grandmother Catherine. P.S. The future is yours to write now. Make it a story worth telling. I looked at my family. Really looked at them. No phones at the table. No hidden agendas. No power plays. Just presence. Real, engaged, purposeful presence. To Grandmother Catherine, I said, raising my glass, "Who taught us what family really means?" "To the future," they responded. "To presence over presence," Jessica added with a smile. "To purpose over power," Marcus agreed. "To legacy," our parents said together. Outside, the city was changing, following our lead. Other companies were adopting our models, other families learning our lessons. The Sterling Revolution had become more than just a business transformation. It had become a movement. Somewhere I knew Grandmother Catherine was watching, probably saying, "I told you so," with that knowing smile of hers. The Sterling legacy was secure, not in our wealth or power, but in our purpose, in the lives we changed, the communities we built, the future we shaped. And it all started with a birthday dinner, 45 minutes of waiting, and a grandmother wise enough to know exactly what her family needed to learn. Sometimes the greatest gifts come wrapped in patience, truth, and just a little bit of well-planned revolution.